Tonight on Unsolved Mysteries Rewind, two friends get together to discuss episodes of their favorite television show, Unsolved Mysteries. Will they find answers? Will anyone care? You may be able to solve a mystery.
This is Mark, and you are listening to Unsolved Mysteries Rewind. I have on tonight Laura. How are you, Laura?
I'm good, Mark. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. Today we're trying something a little bit different, a little bit of a throwback to the early days of Unsolved Mysteries Rewind. A little bit, but not totally. We're going to be covering not one case, but two cases.
Yes.
And what cases are we going to be discussing today?
Okay, so the first case we're going to be talking about, the Unsolved Mysteries segment called it the forklift mystery, but I call it the mysterious deaths of Tom Kueter and Tina Marcotte.
Yes.
And that's one case. And the second case is...
Sarah Beard.
Yes, Sarah Beard, disappearing rapist Wadada.
Wadada. I'm sure that's not even his real name.
No, it's an interesting name. I have no idea. It could be another alias. Who knows?
Yeah, that's kind of a very frustrating case. And, you know, it's weird. Like, we'll sometimes say, well, these are quick cases, but it doesn't mean that these aren't serious cases. It's just some cases just don't have as much information available to them, but they're still fascinating in their own right to discuss.
Oh, definitely, yes. I mean, these cases on the Unsolved Mysteries show, they weren't, I wouldn't say they were super short, but they weren't probably as long as what other ones were. So I thought maybe I'd try and see if we can get a couple into one episode, see how it goes.
But this first case where we're talking about Anthony Kueter.
That's Tom right? Anthony Kueter.
And Tina Marcotte. As you mentioned, they referred to it as the forklift mystery. First aired on the 5th of January of 1996, Season 8, Episode 7.
That's right. Yep, they just looked like two normal people. And the location was Rapid City, South Dakota, and the date was June 24th, 1994.
Not too far from the time of the year that it currently is.
Yeah. Yep, same month and everything, yeah.
But I've never been to South Dakota, so I'm not really 100% sure what life is like in Rapid City. I have a feeling it's not really rapid.
I have a feeling it's cold.
Maybe rapid like it's near water, like rapids.
No idea. I've never been either, so I can't tell you.
Let's see. I just looked it up real quick. Rapid City lies east of the Black Hills National Forest and is known as the gateway to Mount Rushmore. It is surrounded by beautiful views and offers great outdoor activities. Rapid City is the second largest community in South Dakota and is ranked as one of the best places to live in South Dakota.
Good place to raise a family then.
Yeah, good for them. Pretty big population, 76,000 people.
Wow.
And the weather is a little bit cooler than it is here currently in New York. So, you know, good for them. You know, it sounds like a pretty good place. Hopefully things like this case that we're going to be discussing aren't cases that happen there too often.
Do you know the capital of South Dakota?
No, I have no idea.
You really don't know the capital of South Dakota?
No, I don't. I probably do. I just don't know what it...
It's Pierre.
See, yeah, I have no idea what it... You know. See, you have to understand, as a New Yorker, there are very few states that are important to me.
Be careful saying that.
I'm being honest. It's a narcissistic way to live. And it's just, you know, it's like California, New Jersey, Florida. Like, what other states are there? I know there's like another 46 of them, but
Yeah, I'm just a nerd. I just know all the capitals and states off by heart because Australia's only got 7 to remember, so.
Yeah, I really didn't. So it's Pierre, South Dakota. All right.
It is Pierre.
Well, South Dakota is one of those places that I would love to visit, and I'm sure it's beautiful. And of course, I joke around. It's just as a New Yorker, and specifically a Long Islander, you just don't really think of outside of the realm of what's outside of my door.
Yeah, no, it does sound like a nice place with nice views. So
yeah, it doesn't sound bad at all. But this goes back, as you said, June 24th, 1994. It was around midnight. That answered, I had a question in there. I didn't realize it was at midnight. So around midnight on a Friday, June 24th, Tina Marcotte called her best friend Vicky Riddle, which is in kind of a humorous way. Vicky answers the phone. She's like, "Who's this?"
Yeah.
She has a flat tire, and she wanted to know if she can get a ride home.
Yes, Tina was a late shift worker at Black Hills Molding, which is a wood processing plant.
I have a feeling wood is a big deal. I feel like everybody works in the wood industry in this area.
Yeah, well, they said it was, just outside of a forest or something. So, must be popular sort of business ventures there.
I would imagine.
But yeah, it was funny when she goes, "Who is this?"
Yeah, I was just kind of... But she was woken up out of a sound sleep, so I might say the same thing, like, "Who's calling me at midnight?"
Oh, yeah. True.
But Tina said, "Yeah, sure, I'll come and pick you up, no problem." But while she's on the phone, she's like, "Vicky, don't worry about it. Tom is here, Tom." And basically, it becomes conversational, and she's like, "You sure? Be careful." And that was it. That was the last that Vicky spoke to her.
Yeah, so basically, so Tina basically said to Vicky, "Don't come, Tom's here.
Right.
He's going to give me a ride." Tom, we assume it was Tom Kueter, who was a 29-year-old forklift driver who previously had worked at the same place.
At the end of this conversation, I think we'll all agree that it is Tom Kueter. But I think at this point, I mean, Tom being such a common name, it could have been any Tom, because she does not, as far as we know, refer to him with his full name.
No, she just says Tom, and then Vicky goes, "Tom who?" Mm-hmm. And Tina said, "Oh, Tom, he used to work here," but she never mentioned his surname. Yeah. So Vicky just told her to be careful and was probably a little bit relieved she didn't have to get up out of bed. She assumed Tina would be safe, and that was the last time, unfortunately, that Tina was heard from, sadly.
Yeah, and the next morning, Tom, Tom, the forklift driver, and Patrick Lacey, we have a new person in the story who's Tina's boyfriend of 11 years, put a ring on her finger. Really, I mean, it's been over a decade. Come on.
Yeah, and the father of her two
right,
kids.
And they have kids, so it's like even... but no, they're basically discussing where's Tina, which I just thought that little thing was a little bit weird.
Yes.
The reenactment was odd, too, because I felt as though they show the real Patrick. I felt like Patrick looked exactly like the reenactor.
Yes. Oh, very much the same, yes.
I asked my wife, I'm like, "Is that the same guy?" And she's like, "No." I'm like, "Are you sure?" I think it's the same person.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I asked the question, like, why would Tom go with the boyfriend to see Vicky? Like, did Vicky ask him to come along because she suspected him? The only Tom that she knows. Was Tom a close mate of Patrick's? Were they hanging out? The nature of their relationships were never actually mentioned. So I
have a feeling that Vicky knew Tom, and probably the next morning called Patrick, maybe to call Tina, say, "Hey, Tina, did you ever get home?" Yes, Patrick is like, "No, she didn't come home. We're in a panic." Said, she went home with Tom. And Tom who, blah, blah, blah. They call a couple people to get the number. Next thing you know, Tom and Patrick are at the house, and they're like, "What the hell's going on?"
Yes. And then Patrick says, "Be straight with me, Tom, or you're fooling around with my old lady."
Right.
So we don't know if that was accurately said, but that's what was said in the Unsolved Mystery segment. And Tom was immediately defensive when Vicky mentioned that the phone call from the night before between her and Tina. Mm-hmm. He claimed that Vicky was probably drunk and couldn't tell if Tina had said Tom or Ron or John.
Right.
And I'm thinking, wow, that's suspicious already.
that whole thing was ridiculous because, like, oh, you're probably drunk. I mean, it's possible, right? But why would Tina call her friend who is likely drunk?
Yes, and get her to get out of bed and go in the car and pick her up. I mean,
can we also be devil's advocate? Maybe Tina called and Vicky sounded wasted, and she's like, no, I got another ride. Tom, Tom, and maybe Tom wasn't there. Maybe it was somebody else.
Yeah, we don't know, but So, but Tom finally admitted after sort of like talking about it some more that he was the only Tom he knew that used to work for Black Hills Moulding, which is the same place where Tina worked, that she would know about. And when Patrick asked him if Tom was having an affair with Tina, Patrick found his passive denial to be strangely uncharacteristic. So basically, he said in the segment that Patrick said if you had accused Tom of something like that, he would have started fighting with you. Mm-hmm. But instead, he was going, oh, no, you know me better than that. I wouldn't do that. Then he was surprisingly calm. So it just apparently seemed out of character for Tom to just be so passive about it. So that made Patrick even more suspicious. So I don't know.
And a lot of things looked suspicious here. The police examined Tina's car, and the flat tire looks as though it was caused by a knife stabbing, which I'm always wondering, does that really work? Like to take a knife and stick it right in a car tire? I always think that's not going to work.
Oh, I was going to say I tried it, but that would be a lie. I've always wanted to.
Go outside, go down the street to your worst neighbor and just try it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I just have a feeling it would be really hard to do.
Yeah, I feel like I'd slip and slice my hand open or something.
Yeah, which would obviously, be a pretty big wound that you'd have trouble hiding.
Yeah, I would think, and we kind of talked about that a little bit in the last episode where we were talking about the stabbing.
Yes,
and,
yes.
I don't know. That bothers me. The whole slipping of the knife bothers me.
Ugh. I'm not good with blood, so ugh.
But they asked Tom to come in for questioning. He comes voluntarily. During questioning, he denies giving her a ride and said that he spent his evening at a softball game. Afterward, he took a quote-unquote friend home, but then his car broke down because he said he was having problems with, I believe, his thingamajig, carburetor. Because I'm having problems with my carburetor in my 1972 Beetle right now, so I'm rebuilding it. So I kind of felt his pain during that segment.
You're like, oh, I know how that feels, that damn Beetle.
Yeah, I'm rebuilding this thing. So you bring up the point that did the police interview this so-called friend? And we just don't know. There's not enough information that's available to us.
Yep, exactly. And he then spent 3 to 4 hours fixing his car under a street light.
Which I don't buy. I don't buy that.
Yeah, neither do I. He told police the location where his car broke down, but police could find no one in that area to confirm his story.
3 to 4 hours. I mean, all you have to do, is pour some gasoline into your carburetor. You can get it started and you'll get home.
Yeah, and then you can obviously fix it later, have a better look later on. But, it was late at night, so not many people would have seen him, but surely someone might have. And 3 to 4 hours, like we said, is a very long time. Like you said, it's a quick, easy fix for now just to get home. Why spend hours doing it that late at night when you're smelly and stinky from softball and you just want to get home?
Well, sometimes when I'm working on my car, I'll get gasoline on my shoelaces and I want to come home and I want to wash my shoelaces. That's not true. But he comes home. His wife is pissed off. It's like, it's 3:30 in the morning. Where the hell were you? But, no cell phones. So I'm assuming that not only is this a good excuse for the time for men who cheat, but it's also a valid excuse. Because if there's no payphone, how are you going to make a call?
Exactly. Use an owl. Send an owl.
Right. Smoke signals or something. But yeah, the thing is that she said that he began washing his clothes, like his softball uniform and his shoelaces. When he said shoelaces, I just thought, was this a thing to wash shoelaces?
No.
Is that a baseball thing? I just don't know.
I wouldn't think so. I mean,
I'm going to just do a search. Softball washing shoelace. Probably this case will come up. It is. There's a thing about how to clean shoelaces. I don't know why I would care.
But that's pretty pedantic at like 3:30 in the morning. Oh my goodness, I got to wash my shoelaces.
Yeah, I'm not buying it. You don't wash your shoelaces. You buy new ones.
Yeah, exactly. And how could they get that dirty?
Unless they have blood on them or something. I mean,
yeah.
But even exactly. Then, you throw them away. They're shoelaces. They're what, like $3?
I wonder if the wife actually saw any sort of stains or red stains on the uniform, because in the segment, she kind of watches him put stuff into the laundry. She's sort of questioning him about where he was.
Right.
So did she notice anything before it was popped into the laundry? Obviously she never mentioned anything, but be interesting.
3 days after Tina's disappearance, police went to go see Tom in his workplace. The business is still there. It's the Forest Products Distributors, and they look huge. It looks like a huge business. And police told Tom that they found blood in his car and wanted to compare that blood to Tina's blood. Now, this is really kind of questionable. All of a sudden, we're talking about blood.
Yes.
But, did they impound the car? I don't... Was there anything else? Just blood? Was there any hair?
Yeah, I mean, did they
weapon?
Find a knife? Yeah, exactly. It wasn't mentioned, but I guess, someone can get rid of weapons really quite easy. But
sure.
And DNA wasn't as advanced back then, so could they correctly compare Tina's blood to the blood in the car? Maybe they could only confirm that it was her type of blood in the car. Was it just a red herring? Was it just a red herring from the police?
I just think that would open up the floodgates. If it's the same type, like type O or whatever. All right, you know what? They have this newfangled DNA thing. Let's, see what that's all about.
Yeah.
But we don't hear anything about DNA testing.
No, and we don't know if just because police told Tom that they found something doesn't mean they necessarily have. I mean, we know lots of cases where police will throw up a red herring or will lie. You pass the lie detector test, you haven't passed. We found this, we found that, when they haven't. So, but we don't know.
I wonder what Tom's response was when he was like, "Are you sure you found blood?"
Well, if he started sweating, it's gonna
yeah,
tell a lot from his body language. But we don't even know that. So, but around 9 a.m. the next morning, so not long after, just after the shift change, workers found Tom's body with his head crushed by the rear wheel of his own forklift, which is very brutal and kind of gross.
Now, I wrote that I don't see how it's possible, but after thinking about this, I do think, I guess it's possible.
Yeah, it's pretty much of an effort. It's a lot of effort.
I would think, you would load it up with a ton of wood, and you would drive up a hill a little bit, and then you would hop out with the car, with the forklift in neutral. I'm assuming there's a neutral. And it would just lay down strategically, and it would roll over your head like it's a grape, I would imagine.
Ew.
Yeah, and sorry for the visual. It's just one of these things where to do that to yourself, I don't know. I mean, what if you missed? I don't know. What if it somehow just only did part of your head and you're still alive? That's what would happen with me.
Oh, yuck. I mean, but did no one see what he was doing? Was the workspace large enough for him to not be seen with this huge forklift loading lumber onto it?
Wouldn't he still scream?
Oh, ugh. Yeah. If he lined it up correctly, it'd be like if a car rolled over, your head. It would be a pretty fast way.
Right.
But, I just don't know if anyone could have the patience just to see that thing coming towards you. I just instinctively move out the way. I don't know. Hey, you'd really want to want to end your life to have to do something like that. So
yeah, I mean, I guess it's plausible that is something that happened. Now, Nancy, who's Tom's wife or widow at this point, believes that Tom was murdered, saying that he would not leave her and their 2 young children alone. She believes that an unidentified individual attacked him at work and drove the forklift over him. But I put in the notes, I've never heard of anyone say that they feel as though this person is suicidal, and we knew that this was going to eventually happen. Suicide is just one of those things that it's like, if you think somebody's suicidal, very often it's because they're like seeking help. They're letting you know, and thankfully they are letting you know, and you can help them get help. But I find that people who actually commit suicide, maybe there are no signs.
Yeah, I mean, it's, there seemed to be no, like, she never mentioned that he had any history of depression or there was stuff going on in their marriage or anything like that. So, and I don't know about this, but they said a clinical psychologist also believes he didn't commit suicide because he'd never shown suicidal tendencies previously. I mean, who is this clinical psychologist? Do they even know Tom? But anyway, there is a way of thinking about it that, did Tom see no other way out? It may have been out of character, but maybe he felt so guilty about Tina's death, or he knew that police were onto him, so he took his own life and was able to figure out a way for his family to be financially secure. So there is that, to make people question, maybe it wasn't suicide, maybe it was someone else did do this to him, so they get the life insurance. But, again, if there's no history of suicidal tendencies, it's pretty elaborate.
It is. It's like, this takes a little bit of thought here. Like, this is something I don't think I would think.
Yeah, and I mean, and going back to the night when, Tina disappeared, I don't know, I mean, I think that maybe Tom made sexual advances against Tina when he offered to drive her home. She rejected him and tried to escape or got angry at him. And fearing that she would tell people what happened, especially like, Tom's wife or whatever, he got angry or panicked and wanted to silence her. He could have killed her by accident and disposed of her body. And then he had to create this web of lies to cover his tracks. But there's so many things that could happen, like you mentioned,
something happened.
Yeah.
I mean, I walk away from this case thinking Tom killed her, without a doubt, in my mind. But I think very often, too often, it's the sexual advances. It's a woman rejecting the man and the man basically not accepting that, and they attack. And it just happens far too often, to the point where we may as well have a segment one day called "The Husband Did It," or "The Boyfriend Did It," or "He Did It."
Yeah. They're always a prime suspect.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sad fact. I think Tom, without a doubt, killed Tina. Especially because of the evidence that we learn in a few minutes. Yes,
but there is another question as to whether Tina and Tom were actually having an affair.
It's possible.
Like, how did Tom know that Tina was working that night? Because he no longer worked there. Was this a shift that she always did and he just remembered it from when he used to work there? I mean, I guess he might have driven by and saw a car and recognised it and went to see her. But then why were her tyres slashed? So there's all these questions. Were they having an affair but they had an argument and Tom overreacted and killed her? Mm-hmm. Or did she escape the car and was killed by someone else?
The way this all sounds, right? It makes it sound like South Dakota has 5 people in it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we're talking, there's no one else here that it's possible that it could have been.
Not 76,000 people.
Yeah, like the whole thing is crazy. But I think it is possible that they're having an affair. And I don't see why not. I mean, we just don't have enough information one way or the other. But I definitely think, like I said before, I believe Tom did it. Investigators reported that there's no signs of a struggle or drag marks when Tom was when he committed suicide or when he was suicided. Whether there's a third person involved, we don't know. But yeah, he had to place himself there. So Tom is like the number one suspect here, right? I think.
Yes, but it was never formally really linked to it because obviously he's dead. So it's like,
investigators believe, or initially believed, that he committed suicide, which I would imagine would make it so that the insurance would not pay out, depending on the type of insurance.
Yes. But I did have another suspect in mind if it wasn't suicide. I mean, I would assume that the police did question Patrick Leeson, which was Tina's boyfriend, after Tom's death. Did he confront Tom at his work and stage the death as a suicide?
Yeah,
I mean,
interesting.
it does seem unlikely because it happened within a short period of time. And we don't know if Tom admitted to killing Tina to Patrick under pressure when he was confronted. It's just a theory. I'm not trying to accuse anyone, but, did Patrick just go, nah, this is way too shady, and confronted him at the lumberyard and just, Tom folded and said, oh, okay, well, something did happen. And then Patrick's like, oh, here's what I think of you, and I'm just going to crush your head. So.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine? The whole thing is so crazy.
Yeah, it's like crazy, yeah.
Now, in the results, you write that it's solved. I'm going to say that it's likely solved.
Case is closed anyway.
All right, the case is closed. Nancy was kind of talking about that she wishes that the case was still open because she alluded to there being leads. So there's a lot to this case that we don't know about.
Yes, like she sort of, I don't know. I think she's a little bit in denial about a few things. Obviously, she's a grieving widow, and that's, sad enough. But, she said there wasn't enough evidence to prove that Tom committed suicide. And it would be hard if you had that belief about your loved one and everyone was just like, oh, he killed himself because he killed someone else and couldn't stand the guilt. And if that's not true, then that would be pretty tough to handle. So,
and you know what I need for the future? I need like the update or something like that where it's like, breaking news, because while filming this Unsolved Mysteries segment, they discovered Tina's body beneath a woodpile in the lumberyard of all places, Tom's workplace, Forest Products Distributors, in October of 1995. I'm sorry, the police found, Unsolved Mysteries didn't find anything. They just found out about it.
But it was about 16 months after she disappeared, because she disappeared in June of 94, and it was October of 1995, so quite a while afterwards. But to be found at Tom's workplace, I mean, was she placed there to frame Tom? Why would he put her there if he's the prime suspect? It's just very bizarre.
There are a couple things that they don't discuss here, and maybe I'm wrong here. Can they do any type of tox screen at this point? Can they? What was the condition of the body? Was she dressed? Was she not? You know what I mean? Like, was there a sign of a sexual assault? I mean, there's nothing.
Well, 16 months is a long time. You go through all of the seasons,
It's a whole year.
Slowed up. Yeah, slowed up decomposition, sped up decomposition. I don't know what kind of testing you could do, especially back then.
But if she's clothed or not clothed, I think that there's that. There's a lot of things you could, under her fingernails, you can find out maybe she scratched somebody or scratched something. I would imagine that these tests were done.
Oh, you'd hope that they would have collected evidence to test later. They couldn't test. Or
was there an assault on her? Like they could see if hair was pulled or if a bone is broken.
Yeah, well, they said the cause of death was blunt force trauma, so it's obviously maybe they could tell from the skull, or that there was obviously a lot of damage to that, so she was obviously hit with something.
Yeah.
So, being hit over the head to quiet her for whatever reason. So, but in 2016, authorities closed Tom and Tina's cases, ruling that he was responsible for her death and he committed suicide afterwards, which is pretty cut and dry, end of story. And you're like, lots of unanswered questions.
Yeah. it's a really kind of questionable thing. You found some information on sitcoms online, which is just a rabbit hole. Every fan of television needs to go and jump down every once in a while.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for it. Some stuff I don't know if I believe, but it's interesting to talk about it anyway.
Sure.
So one of the posts claims to be Nancy Kueter, who's Tom's wife, a widow, who still appears to still think her husband is innocent. She claims the police said they found blood in our vehicle. It was actually not blood; it was Kool-Aid that was spilt from the kids.
Not buying it.
Me neither. This is one of the things that weren't said, so I'm assuming she meant not said in the segment. Also, that there were 2 Toms that worked out at Black Hills Molding, which is another thing that was not said. Not knowing what really happened is killing me inside.
But just because there's a second Tom doesn't mean anything. Tom could have been in Disney World.
Yeah, I mean, did they question this other Tom? Did he actually exist? I mean, obviously you feel sorry for Nancy, like we said before, but she did make other statements saying, I don't believe Tom would hurt or kill anyone. I believe he did know something and was killed for his knowledge. The day before Tom died, he told me he was being framed and they're doing a good job, and the next day he was dead. The forklift Tom was driving had faulty brakes. Forest Products was fined by OSHA, whoever OSHA is.
No, OSHA is like a protective agency that makes sure that it's like safety in the workplace.
So like, oh yeah, I get it.
I'll get the exact thing what it is. It's the Occupational Safety and Health Administration.
Yeah, so the OH&S sort of thing, yeah. And the markings on my husband did not match the way police said the forklift ran over him either. So, interesting. I mean, did Tom really feel he was being framed?
For what? For his knowledge. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, exactly. For what knowledge?
For his forklift knowledge? Like, I don't understand.
Did he not tell his family who was framing him because he feared for his family's life? Like, I mean, how do we don't know. Just so many unanswered questions. And yeah.
I think that it really is Nancy, but I think that this is just grasping at straws, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think she's just kind of looking for anything. But the overall thing is that people still obviously believe that Tom had something to do with it. And after Tom passed away, he was buried at Pine Lawn Memorial Park, Rapid City, Pennington County, South Dakota. And unfortunately, his son, Dustin, died in 2009 at the age of 18 and is buried there too. I couldn't find out how he passed away, obviously, because he's so young. I was very interested. But, yeah, that was a bit sad. And Tina is buried in Blossom Hill Cemetery in New Hampshire, and both her parents had passed away, and that was before the case was officially closed in 2016.
Well, you know, it's a genuine unsolved mystery in my eyes, because we don't have any 100% solution here. But thankfully, we did find Tina's body. I find it interesting that her body took so long to find.
Oh, exactly, especially right near where Tom had passed away. You'd think that they would, if they really suspected him, look around a bit more. And it was just under some lumber. I mean, move the lumber. What was the lumber doing there for 16 months?
I mean, I'm thinking that in order to really hide her, somebody would have had to have used a forklift, right? And it would move like maybe 2 tons of wood. You put the body and then you cover it with 2 tons of wood.
Yeah, terrible. You know, both victims had 2 little children, and you just go, oh, it's just so sad. And I guess we're never going to know the full story about really what happened, but I do think that Tom was somehow involved.
Well, on to this next case, which brings us, it's another case from 1994, 2nd of February of 1994, Wadada.
Yes, season 6, episode 18.
There is so much about this case that I think is interesting. This is, I think, a horrifying case, but it's it also brings out the strength of some people, I think, and how incredible the person who was was attacked and how she kind of overcame a lot of these things. And she seems to have made some level of major recovery.
Yeah, she's a very strong girl. Like a fighter, definitely a fighter.
Were you able to track her down anywhere? Because I looked everywhere. I can't find... I mean, I can find 1,000 people named Sarah Beard, but I can't find her.
I'm assuming she probably either married or just changed her surname or has her middle name on Facebook or something. Because, as we know, like, this Wadada guy is still missing. So she probably still feels, in some way, like, could he come after me? Can he find me?
It's
you always
possible.
have that fear.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that there's like something like that going on. But yeah, so do you want to give the basis of this story?
Yes. So basically, the victim is Sarah Beard, and the criminal, the rapist, is Wadada. Last name unrevealed. Has a few aliases, or possible ones. And wanted for attempted murder and rape and missing since December of 1988. So this obviously happened in 1988, and the story wasn't on Unsolved Mysteries until like 6 years later. So,
right. I said 1994. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, that's okay. That's when it was like. That's when the story was released. But yeah, it was happened in 1988. So 17-year-old. Sarah Beard was a freshman sociology student at the University of New Mexico in Albuquerque. She was very close to her parents and often stayed over their house, and they would drive her back to her apartment. And at 4 p.m. on December 8th, 1988, her mother, Susan, arrived at her off-campus apartment. She was very concerned as Sarah hadn't responded to calls from her parents, and they had plans. They planned to go Christmas shopping. Susan went to Sarah's apartment earlier that day and knocked, but there was no answer. She also left a note, and the note was still there when she went back. So she obviously was starting to get a little bit concerned. They're obviously very close. Mm-hmm. Susan obtained a key from the landlord and entered the apartment. She called out to Sarah but received no response. Now this is where it gets a little bit, it'd be such a shock. She saw blood on the floor, then heard a rasping noise coming from the far side of Sarah's bed. She found Sarah lying there, beaten and unconscious. And it would have been horrible to find her daughter like that. I mean, how long?
Of course.
She would have been suffering there for hours.
Well, we learn later for 24 hours.
Yeah. And, luckily she made that rasping noise, but obviously seeing the blood, you figure something was wrong. Sarah had been raped and struck in the back of the head with a hammer approximately 11 times.
That's unreal. That she's still alive.
I know, and like I said, for that long she held on until her mother found her. 3 of the blows were strong enough to fracture her skull and jaw. Susan, the mother, tried to call 911 using Sarah's phone, but the line was cut. So she actually had to go find another phone.
But I'm hoping that she was able to find another phone because there are other apartments, and I'm kind of hoping that she didn't have to go too far.
Oh, definitely. Yes.
I hope.
Because that would be, you wouldn't want to leave her until the help arrived. Sarah was rushed into emergency surgery, which lasted hours on December 9th, and miraculously she did survive. So, yeah, like you said, couldn't believe that she survived, but I'm glad she did because, she was able to tell the story and, what an ordeal.
Yeah, I couldn't believe she survived at this point. We get kind of a nice moment where the father is sitting with Sarah, and he's holding her hand, and they're able to kind of they can't communicate verbally. She wakes up, which is just kind of amazing, right? And he kind of comes up with a way of communicating where he's going to say the alphabet, and they can communicate by her squeezing his hand when they're spelling something. So just to prove that she's even there.
Yeah.
Saying, who am I? Who am I? And when he did the ABCs and got to the letter J, she squeezed. And his name, of course, is James. So I thought it was, that was a really, and you said it's a very smart idea. I thought it was really emotional. They said, who did this to you? Who did this? And they're giving the whole alphabet. And I would probably be I'd be cursing at the person in my head saying, oh my God, like start skipping some letters because unfortunately we're going to reach the end of the alphabet before I'm going to squeeze. And Dad's starting to feel as though maybe it was just a fluke. But they finally reach W and she squeezes. And they're like, who's W, William, this? And they they figure out that it's possible that she's referring to her friend Wadada.
Yes. A friend is a loose term, but yes, an acquaintance.
Yeah.
Luckily,
well, I question that. I think I have my own theories about Wadada's involvement with these kids. I mean, I feel like he was like their weed dealer or something like that, or maybe he was having like selling like pot and stuff.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know. What is the point of this guy existing in their lives? Unless he's able to deal drugs or he can, maybe they're like hooking up. I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
Said he was a college hanger-onerer.
Yeah. But when I was in college, we had these kind of people and it was like, you just get the hell out of here. You know, of course I wasn't a pretty young girl. So, I mean, it's a little bit different, but I'm going to imagine that Wadada was a hanger-oner. And he probably got them drugs. That's just my opinion. Yeah.
Well, he'd be known as the weird guy that could sell. He knows how to get them. He could
score. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, and he probably was just like, you know, he wrote the notes. He was kind of just there as a bit of a loser that hung around the campus, and you know everybody sort of knew him. So there is that. But anyway, so Sarah squeezed. When they reached W, they realised it was Wadada. But, however, the police couldn't press charges based on the strength of the hand squeeze.
Squeezing doesn't hold up in court, I guess.
Exactly.
Although, I'll accept a squeeze before I'll accept a polygraph, personally.
Oh, yes. Yeah, definitely, especially in her condition as well.
Yeah.
But they needed Sarah to name her attacker verbally, and doctors were very concerned that she'd never be able to speak again. So... Yeah, and
now what would happen? Say she was never going to speak again, but she could communicate physically. I mean, she might be able to eventually type, or she could do something
write
like
it
that.
down. Yeah.
So they would probably figure an alternative way of confirming that she's trying to say Wadada.
Yeah, like maybe they would, I don't know, find a photo or do a sketch or something, which they eventually did, and there's many ways I'm sure they would have been able to in extenuating circumstances. But police found some evidence in Sarah's apartment when they went back. They found a notebook with the name Wadada inside, a metal Rastafarian bracelet that didn't belong to Sarah, and the claw hammer used to beat Sarah. So
all the evidence to point right to Wadada.
Yeah, but
I'm saying... I wrote betting her was high. I'm betting he was high.
Yeah.
Because why else do you do that? I mean, why are you making... you're making like these terrible choices in trying to kill this person and raping them, but to leave all the evidence behind is even crazier.
Well, it reminds me of that case, the Jeremy and Heather case, where they went to buy a computer and they met up with the guy in the hotel room.
Yeah.
And he beat them and he actually left the hammer behind, and it was so new it still had the tag on it. So. But
did he leave his prints on that and stuff?
No, he wiped everything.
Yeah. So I mean, he was just leaving it behind as an FU, I think.
Yeah. Well,
with this, I mean, actually, they don't even say if there's fingerprints on anything.
No, and this was 1988, so who knows? But when Sarah was found, she was clothed, but it looked like to the police that the attacker had dressed her.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, it's a bit creepy. They found a bloody towel as well. You know, you got to wonder, did the attacker try to clean up? Did they feel remorse and try to help her? Because there are some, crimes of passion where they realise what they've done and they try to help, even though they've done so much damage. But the attack was just so brutal that it seemed like the attacker clearly wanted her dead.
Right. And we don't know why.
And you said no apparent motive.
Yeah, we have no idea. At the hospital, the police take fingernail clippings and hair samples because People scratch, like we were saying. And this is a couple years before the one in South Dakota.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm hoping that they would be able to take those fingernail clippings from Sarah in our previous case. But yeah, they do a rape kit, and they take several samples. But, as we always discuss, in this period of time, in 1988, DNA it's kind of just not accessible.
Yeah, there's just not enough. It's just not advanced enough to really do much. And do you know how many rape kits are still waiting to be tested?
It's sickening. And right now people are being raped, and that's another thing is, do we, I can understand the conflict. Do we deal with who is just raped, or do we deal with something from 20 years ago? And it's like they both deserve attention, but I just feel like I have to deal, personally, I would have to deal with the one that just happened.
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah. So Sarah's mum, Susan, was interviewed by police and mentioned a strange phone call Sarah said she'd received a few days prior. Sarah said she recognised the name but just couldn't link the voice to the name, but she later stated to police that she knew the voice to be that of Wadada, so she must have realised. The man asked her to meet him out in the parking lot to talk, but she refused and locked her doors. So at least she's smart in that regard. It just obviously wasn't enough, unfortunately. But, yeah, if someone called me at night and said, meet me in the parking lot, I'd be like, not happening, ever.
Yeah, but if it was a guy that you've hooked up with before and had this big fight, and that's why you don't want to go out and meet with him out in the parking lot, it might be a whole other scenario. I just think there's more to this story, and we unfortunately do not learn this.
Yeah, we don't know. But we do know that Sarah's boyfriend was identified as Wendell Davis, known by the nickname Dillinger, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Like John Dillinger, which is that's not necessarily very... Yes. He had moved with his mother from Miami to Albuquerque to get away from the Rastafarian drug scene in Florida. He had been in trouble there and wanted a fresh start in New Mexico.
So Sarah's boyfriend is I don't know, is he Rastafarian?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know whether he was just because he was around Rastafarian people, he sort of got connected to it, or whether he was or not. I'm not really sure. I'd never found a photo or anything.
I used to be in a band with a Rastafarian guy. He was an alright guy, but they're definitely kind of their own interesting culture.
Yeah, I did research that it originated in Jamaica in the 1930s. Their beliefs are in the Bible and their holy land is in Africa. They worship one god called
Jah.
Jah, yeah. And they believe it lives in each individual person.
Yeah, it's a whole other new belief system that's exactly like all the other ones. That's what I like to say about these type of things. It's Christianity. It's and for the most part, you meet a Rastafarian person, they're very nice. They're fine, and there's always going to be ones who are, just like in every walk of life, ones that are just horrible, whether they be white, black, purple, green.
Weirdos in every section of the world. So,
yeah,
yes.
and but Rastafarians, of course, have a certain stigma to them that they're a bunch of potheads and drug dealers and everything like that. And of course, is not totally true. I'm just kidding. It's not. It's just a stereotype.
Yes. Yeah. No, that makes sense. But we found out that Wendell Davis, so Sarah's boyfriend, was actually out of state when Sarah was attacked, visiting his family in Alabama, so his alibi checked out. But we do find more out about Wadada and also sort of his relationship with Sarah. So apparently he was a homeless man, and as we said, he was always hanging around the university. He considered himself to be an artist and often asked for money from students, including Sarah. Now,
we do learn later that he hates hates white people, which is just interesting that he seems to be hanging out with Sarah so much, or trying to hang out with her.
Well, I think that she was just a really nice person and she just felt sorry for him. And, she apparently once let him sleep on her couch when her boyfriend was over, but she probably didn't feel 100% safe around him. So right. I would have had the boyfriend there too. But apparently that same night, Wadada also stole the blankets and some more money from her and was gone by the time they got up. So obviously he seemed to take advantage of everybody.
This is like your typical college town right here. Like, without the murder part. I mean, well, without the, almost murder part.
Yeah, he just, he was just, why would you steal blankets anyway?
But, as weeks pass, Sarah starts really recovering. And I'm like, weeks? What about years? I mean, she was hit in the head, 11 times?
And fractured her jaw and her skull.
But she's recovering. Good for her, And in January of 1989, she's able to speak. And she gives the investigators a full account of what happened. It's a nice little moment in the reenactment where she's getting better and better and better.
Yes, so that's good. I'm so glad.
They create a composite sketch of Wadada. I don't know why they couldn't have gotten a composite sketch before.
Yeah.
Other people have seen Wadada.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly right. Like we said, everybody seemed to know him. He was just like a university hanger-onerer. So, why would you not? Not interview others?
But Sarah said on December 7th, 1988, that she was planning to go over to the university to study. When Wadada came to her apartment, he asked to borrow a paintbrush, and she told him that he could borrow what he needed. In the reenactment, she's just like, take whatever you want, do whatever you want, Just flush, It's just weird, like, giving somebody this much access to your home, for me anyway, it feels a little too much. Like, if you don't like the guy, why are you saying take whatever you want?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe because she thought, she'll get out of this soon. Just take what you need and go. Like, trying to rush him out.
I don't know. I think that she's, maybe she's just young and dumb. I mean, that's possible.
Yeah, and this wasn't mentioned in the Unsolved Mystery segment, but apparently Sarah also mentioned the stolen blankets and money and just asked if he could at least return the blankets. But then Wadada became angry. Oh,
that's what I misread what you said. Yeah, you're right. She, that's interesting that he got angry because she's calling him out.
Yes. So as she turned to put her shoes on, he came up from behind and put a knife to her throat, which would be obviously very scary. He ordered her into the closet and to take off her clothes. She banged on the walls and floors and screaming for help, but no one heard her, which is sad. And Wadada hit and brutally raped her. Afterward, he began chanting wildly and made her join in.
I just feel as though she went he has one arm that's not even mobile, and I'm not saying that she just gave up, but it feels like this guy wouldn't have given up too much of a fight. I mean, he could have been very strong.
Yeah.
But one of his hands was like a claw, and the other one was messed up too.
And like you said, he could have been high. So
yeah, that's true.
So, but the chant that he sort of started chanting wildly, it was a Rastafarian prayer. He also told her to apologize for what happened to her and asked her repeatedly if she was sleeping with someone else, and she said she wasn't. But maybe that even made Wadada angrier because he knew that she had a boyfriend. And
she knew these chants because she had done these chants before with him. It just feels like you've been hanging out with this guy a lot in a very personal way. Yeah, in a very intimate way.
About his culture and sort of, started sort of chanting your...
I think that's odd, personally.
It is a little bit odd. But you wrote something interesting. Did you want to read that?
Yeah, I mean, I got this from blackhistorymonth.org.uk. So it's from the UK. It's not from the United States. So one unfortunate part of Rastafari is their negative attitudes towards females. Now, you find this in most religions, actually. Judaism, there's a lot of this separation of females and males have to be the stronger and blah, blah, blah. And it's all nonsense. But this is what they wrote. Most Rastas believe that females are not equal to men. They believe that a good woman must always respect men and do what they ask. This is very contrary to much of the other beliefs about people being equal. Rasta men often beat their wives for being lazy. I think that's a ridiculous comment. I don't personally believe Rasta men often beat their wives for being lazy. But I'm reading it. I'll put a source in it. Rastamen believe that being naked is good. I don't have an issue because you are closer to God in your natural state.
I'm naked right now.
There you go. You get the bell for that. Well, I missed the bell. There you go. Rasta's belief of sexual contact also differs from men to women. Rasta men often have many different partners, while it is wrong for Rasta women to give more than a handshake to more than one man. Yeah, it's about keeping the woman down. So
yeah. Well, there you go. So
I don't know if this is true at all. This sounds to me extremist, and it's possible that that is a part of Rastafarian culture on an extreme level. Yes. So
I
don't buy all of this, but I believe that, like most religions, females are considered second-class citizens. Unfortunately, personally, I think that's bullshit. But that's just me.
Yeah, no, I agree. But yeah,
of course you agree.
Yeah. No,
you would.
I think equal rights for everyone. I just think that women shouldn't be superior to men either. Like, I just feel that why can't we all be friends? But anyway, right. I know that's not what life is like. But so yeah, though that was very interesting. So going back to Sarah's poor brutal attack, Wadada then struck her in the back of the head repeatedly with the hammer and left her to die. So that was
said that
hammer.
She just felt like a bash on the side of her head.
Yes, and again, not included in the segment was that after he made Sarah go into the closet for the first time to make her undress, Wadada then changed his mind, saying he didn't want her anymore, and she was able to redress. But then he suddenly changed his mind, and Sarah had to undress again. So he was obviously playing mind games with her.
It's so crazy.
Which is
so
even
creepy.
Worse. And once after he struck her unconscious with the claw hammer, he raped her again. He then stole more money and cut the phone lines and left.
Oh
so
it's crazy.
And this is interesting. I didn't really know, but Sarah also told police that when Wadada was raping her, she felt that he was raping her for someone else. So I'm not sure what that meant. Did he mean that Wadada was taking his frustration over his unrequited love for someone else out on her, or that he was told to rape Sarah by another person who hated her for some reason?
I think that this is Sarah making excuses for his bad behavior or something. I don't know. I don't know what exactly it means, but I think that it's. I think even when Sarah's talking about this, she doesn't seem angry enough, in my opinion.
Well, it could be due to her brain injury. Like, she could have, sustained some injuries.
That's possible.
That changed her personality. I mean, I've heard of people who have been hit on the head really badly, and all of a sudden they're able to play piano, and they never were interested before. That's an extreme cases, but her personality could have been quite changed, and.
And I understand the whole concept of forgiveness, and some people are able to just do that, but it just seems like that he was raping her for someone else. It's kind of like, no. He was raping you. Like, he was raping you for him. Like, he's the monster. It's not like, I feel like it's kind of like channeling the blame elsewhere.
Yeah. I feel like she's almost get away with it type thing. It's like, well, no, what he did to you was so brutal. He shouldn't get away with it. Everything he did was terrible. Mm-hmm. So,
and he doesn't deserve that comment, I feel like.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's just horrible. But when Sarah was going in and out of consciousness, she tried to alert her neighbours for help. One neighbour later stated that he heard metal banging coming from her apartment, but it didn't last long, so he thought that Sarah was working on a project. So,
which makes sense. I mean,
she's an artist.
Yeah, I mean, it's like if I hear boom, 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 I'm like, I don't really think about it.
Yeah, if I heard it continuously.
Yeah.
But,
But no, I mean, my neighbors are always building stuff. I would have no idea anything is going on.
Yeah, so it was, not very, bit of a lacking on their neighbour's part. But, like, Sarah was just doing what she thought might help. She was just trying to alert someone. But not surprisingly, Sarah was sometimes confused on several details of the attack, especially with what she was hit with. Yeah. But she did remember clearly when it came to the rape, and obviously she had to revisit it, which is really, really sad and very, very traumatic. But, you know, if it helps find the rapist, then you got to do it.
Yeah. But police get a tip about a homeless man named Sam Johnson. He's brought in for questioning. He fits Wadada's description. He had a deformed hand. He was arrested. But instead of... This is crazy.
I know.
Instead of putting him in the cell and saying, hey, Sarah, you're gonna have to come down here. We need you to identify somebody. They bring him to a park. And then they say, hey, Sarah, come to the park and meet us. Right? Like, it makes no sense. She's like, I don't want to go anywhere. And she sends her boyfriend, Wendell Davis, instead, who gets there and says, no, that's not Wadada. And the police let the guy go. Maybe it wasn't Wadada. But it didn't make any sense to me. I've never heard of this.
Police arresting a suspect and bringing them to a park. I mean, I don't understand why Sarah wouldn't go. I guess it's a bit traumatic, but at least take someone with you, her boyfriend, her parents, but also in a bloody park. Like, that's just ridiculous. You know, not even an interview room or anything like that. You know, why would you send the boyfriend to identify him? He wasn't there when Sarah was attacked. It was totally mishandling. It was like, police are like, you know, we've got someone, you better come check him out. We're pretty sure it's not him, but, you know, just let's meet in a park, have a cup of coffee and discuss whether or not it's him. It's like, what?
Right, meet us at the hot dog stand. You know, it doesn't make any sense. Police also interviewed another homeless man named Milton. He was friends with Wadada and knew Wendell and Sarah. He said that he and Wadada believed Sarah was a witch.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and it's like, all right, well, now it's clear. Another friend of Wadada's told police that he had a girlfriend named Alyssa Lucero, who lived in Santa Fe. When police went to question her, she moved from the area and left no forwarding address. And you were pointing out that Wadada might be with her. Maybe they fled together.
Yeah, maybe they did.
We learned that Wadada apparently hates white people, especially white women, because they ruined, quote, his life. Or they, quote, ruined his life. And Sarah's super white. And a woman, apparently.
Yes.
But I don't get it. This whole thing.
Said he loved, he obviously loved borrowing and stealing stuff from white people. He obviously felt that he was
these white
entitled
people
to
anyway. And I'm thinking that if Sarah was dating a Rastafarian, maybe that opened her up to him feeling as though it's okay to steal from her.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. The whole thing, it's I don't get it. I don't agree with it. I don't think any person deserves to go through the kind of attack that Sarah got, regardless of whatever color or status or whatever they are. Police subpoena Sarah's phone records and found Wadada had made several calls to Utah, and that's where they found that Alyssa Lucero was. She said she knew Wadada, and he had a visa from Liberia, but his father was English. Like, we start learning about all the crap and the nonsense of Wadada, and we start learning about it, but at the same time we know nothing about him.
Yeah, I mean, all this stuff could just be just random things that people have said. Oh yeah, this and this, but it could, there might not even be an ounce of truth to it. It
seems as though the police just believe everything too. I mean, she said that she had not seen him since before Christmas the previous year and didn't want to get involved. Well, that's too bad. I mean, because he's probably standing right next to you.
Yeah, I mean, was she hiding something? Mm-hmm. Was she afraid to talk to police? Would Wadada find her and hurt her? Or was he threatening her not to talk? We just don't know. Was he even there or was he not? Maybe she was telling the truth. Maybe she hadn't seen him since Christmas, Yeah.
Well, Crime Stoppers apparently featured the case in 1989 as their crime of the week.
Ooh, dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, dun, dun, dun. A job services staff member came forward and reported a man named Doyen Dunbozal.
Say that fast 5 times.
Doyen, but I'm not going to even do it once, had come in looking for work. His work visa stated that he was from Africa and he had a disability, although we don't know what that disability might have been. And police obtained his records from the Department of Immigration and Naturalization. And he had no criminal history, but police were convinced this was Wadada.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah. Maybe it was the guy in the park. I don't know, maybe. So wait, that's the same guy. It was discovered he had married a woman in Nashville, but when she was questioned, she said she hasn't heard from Doyen since 1985, and he just disappeared. Which maybe it is Wadada, because this really sounds like what he does. He just, as you point out, he's conveniently disappearing every 15 minutes, it seems.
Yep. And she also didn't know any of his family members or friends, even though they were married. He travelled across the country looking for work and was never violent towards her. He never had any disability that she was aware of, but did send an old photo of him to the police in Albuquerque. When shown the picture, Wendell and Sarah were unsure that the picture matched Wadada because it was an old picture.
Wendell and Sarah are covering up something. I'm telling you. They were part of a drug deal. Something went down, and Sarah got in the middle of it.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't...
Oh, I don't know if that's really him. Oh, that's not him at the park.
Because from the composite sketch, that's pretty memorable. He's pretty scary looking. I mean, I would remember that. And even if you saw a picture of him a couple of years younger, I would like to think you'd still be able to say, yes, that's him.
Right.
You know, but weird.
Yeah, it just sounds so shady.
It does. It really does. An arrest warrant went out for Doyen Don Boozle.
You'd say it 3 times fast.
No, heck no.
Yeah.
I'll just get it completely wrong. He was charged with attempted murder and rape. He was arrested in 1993 in North Carolina. Sarah was brought in to identify her attacker, but she denied it was him. It didn't look like Wadada at all, and he didn't have the hand disability. Yeah. And all of his stories checked out too.
Well, that's possible too.
Yes. Now, but he did state that he once worked in Florida with a man who called himself the, quote, medicine man, unquote. He had a bad temper, liked to perform voodoo, often asked people for money, and had scars on his hands and a deformed right hand. He also walked with a cane. He was a black man with dreadlocks, and when Doyen was shown the composite sketch, he said it matched the medicine man. So we're assuming the medicine man may have been Wadada.
Or Doyen is just trying to make a deal.
Yes, all that. Trying to be helpful, but really just making crap up.
Now, could you explain the next thing, the John Doe arrest warrant?
Yeah, so basically, the John Doe arrest warrant was issued in 1989, and the case was closed until arrest was made. So apparently it was the first case in New Mexico to indict a suspect on a John Doe warrant, which stops the clock on the statute of limitations. So I think that because they didn't really know if Wadada was his real name, they didn't know if he had several aliases, they know he committed a crime, they had the victim, but they didn't know much more of him. They wanted to arrest him, but they didn't really have a name. So to stop the statute of limitations from expiring on the actual rape and attempted murder, they had to kind of put through this John Doe arrest warrant, and somehow it got through even back in the late 80s.
That's interesting. So there's no statute of limitations on this particular...
Yeah, apparently not still. So the case went cold after Doyen Don Boozle was acquitted. In 1993, several of Wadada's acquaintances were re-interviewed. This is about 5 years afterwards, and new sketches were made, but nobody knew where Wadada was.
Why were they re-interviewed, and why were new sketches needed?
Maybe to put it back out there. Maybe they figured some of his acquaintances had seen him more recently and were able to describe him.
I mean, maybe people died and they just felt like they could come out and talk now?
Yeah, well, sometimes the first sketch doesn't really look as accurate as some other sketches, you know. It's like with the Molly Bish case, the first composite didn't really look like the man that was the suspect, and then the second one looked more like it. So, you know, And Wadada could have changed his looks.
Sure, he could have shaved his head, grown a beard.
Yeah.
He speaks Spanish. He could just speak Spanish.
Yeah, exactly. So
wear glasses, and you never even recognize the guy.
Exactly. He could fit in pretty much not fit in, but he could kind of go anywhere and he'd just be sort of accepted as a kind of a weirdo.
Except Australia. I think he'd stand out like a sore thumb in Australia.
He could very well, yes. But he still hasn't been found, Wadada. He's described as 5'7" to 5'9" with a thin build. He speaks with an accent that might be described as French, Caribbean or Ethiopian, but he is apparently fluent in Spanish, as you said. His right hand is deformed, which means the fingers are sort of crabbed together, forming like
we don't know why, right? We don't really... There's no backstory.
No, we don't know how it happened. But his right arm is also deformed. I'm not sure how, though.
And, like you mentioned that, of course people, they get hurt and they have different deformities and everything. But it does seem to be, if you're picturing this guy attacking her, this kind of adds to a little bit of the creepiness of it, at least I think. And,
yes.
It's just that along with his behavior, it's a very scary situation.
Yeah, and they did like a composite sketch of the claw.
Yeah.
So people think that he might have been faking it to some degree. He used it to garner sympathy. I don't know how true that is. But he also had burn scars on the front and back of both his hands. He never explained how he got the deformities or the burns.
Wait, this whole time have you been trying to do that with your hand by any chance?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing it right now. It hurts to do it. It makes my joints kind of hurt.
It wouldn't be very comfortable. I mean, I don't know how we would, be an artist and try and...
Fake it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But he has listed his birthplace as Guyana. He previously lived in Santa Fe, Miami, and Brooklyn.
Brooklyn?
Yeah, Brooklyn,
That's like 15 minutes from my house.
And he's wanted for rape and attempted murder. And it's clear to me, personally, that I think Wadada's committed other crimes probably before Sarah's attack and after. And that's why he keeps on moving from place to place. And basically, as of now, June of 2022, he is still missing.
Yeah.
So,
we know nothing about this guy. We don't have a name. Yeah. We don't have a really good sketch. I mean, the sketches are not very good, I think. That claw thing, I just feel like a kid could have drawn that.
Yeah. Oh, yes. It's not very... I mean, they're so old as well. I mean, are there any updated...
Yeah, I heard that they got everyone back together to re-interview and new sketches were made. Do we get those? Or maybe look at the old ones and see which ones are better.
I mean, it would be interesting to know where Sarah is today. Hopefully she's well and, obviously still has to live with what happened to her for the rest of her life, which would be so difficult. I can't even imagine. But I just hope someday she gets justice. I mean, where on earth could he be?
He's probably dead. I mean, the guy's a loser. I mean, the guy is, living a lifestyle like this, you don't live for very long unless you stop. No. And it didn't seem like he was stopping.
No, it just seems like he was taking advantage of everybody, committing crimes where he could, stealing, all of that, drug scene probably. He's just a real upstanding guy.
Oh, yeah, totally. Totally. But I just think it's crazy. No DNA from Wadada was available. And back in that time, DNA tests were underdeveloped and expensive. I wonder if there was DNA at all recovered from her.
Well, there was stuff, I think there was some taken from her scalp because her scalp had to be shaved for the surgery.
Right.
And I think they mentioned there was fingernail scrapings, but if they've got nothing to compare it to and it didn't match the other two suspects that they sort of had, the guy they met in the park and everything, we don't even know if that was tested because the boyfriend said it wasn't him anyway. Do
you think this case will ever get solved?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think so. I think he's probably dead.
Yeah, we were talking about this before we started recording a little bit, and it's just with, or did we just talk about this? I don't know. Sometimes we'll talk about it before the recording or during. But yeah, I mean, we have to, the rapes and everything that are happening right now are, in my opinion, are just They're the priority. We need to get the people now. I mean, this guy could be dead. I mean, the chances are he probably is dead.
Yeah, and like no sightings of him have been mentioned. I looked on a lot of sources. There's not even like an update from a few years ago. You know, sometimes they have like updates every 5 years or something. But
Sarah seems to have her life back together. She seems, she's talking. She looks good, I think. You would never know, at least from the footage we saw, you would never know she went through an attack like that.
No. I mean, like I said, strong lady, and I hope that she's doing as best she can now. And it's just a shame that it's, gone unsolved. It really is. Hopefully one day she'll get justice.
Yeah. Well, Laura, thank you so much for getting together tonight to discuss these couple cases. I really appreciate it. Thank you for all the hard work that you put into the research.
No problem. No problem. It was good to try and do 2 cases in one. I think it worked well.
Tonight we have been confronted with an entire catalog of unexplained and unsolved events. Tune in next time as Unsolved Mysteries Rewind discusses another collection of unsolved mysteries. Until then, we can only look and wonder.